there, welcome back to another show. Today I'm going to talk about The Chaser, which is a film. I'm going to pronounce these names badly, but I'm going to give it a shot. It's from Na Hong-jin, who's the director. He also directed a few other acclaimed films, such as The Yellow Sea and The Wailing. So he's the director. He hasn't made a film that hasn't been well received so far. It stars Kim Yoon-suk and Ha Jung-woo as the protagonist and the serial killer, respectively. And you also see Seo Young-hee as a prostitute who gives a terrific performance. Right, that's me butchered enough names. Okay, I'm not going to try to pronounce any more names because I've probably already been banned from Korea just from my pronunciation of those names. You know, it's inevitable at this point. So The Chaser is a wonderful film. Thanks to Who's Touch of Film for bringing it up how good it is. So eventually I'll go around to buying it and watching it. I do have The Yellow Sea also on my backlog now, and I'll get to The Wailing too. So I'm very much into seeing the rest of this guy's films after this one, because The Chaser is probably one of the best serial killer movies since Manhunter. It's that level of just been great. It's just doing something completely new with this genre, just doing something that's humane but unsentimental. It takes the serial killer as what it needs to be, which is a twisted character who causes tragedy all around, and there's no sentimentality. He destroys lives out of some weird fantasies that don't really mean anything ultimately apart from to him, and it's just basically some sick fuck, basically. You know, that's what serial killers are. But this film looks at the damage it's done because of the actions. A lot of the time in serial killer movies, as you probably know, the serial killer becomes so prominent in the drama that it's almost like they're a master criminal or something, when they're not. They're just sickos. And it becomes this unbalanced thing with cop versus killer, and it's almost like this is the end of the world at stake if they don't catch this killer, and it's just some sicko killer. This one knows that. It knows that most people in the place where this is set don't care. It's just like, catch the killer and let go on with lives. We don't care. It only matters to the people who are involved, like the police and a few other characters. That's all it matters to. The rest of the people could not care less about the fate of this killer, or if he even exists. You know, it's of no interest. But what's great about the film, though, is the serial killer is interesting. You are interested in seeing what he's about, but you kind of know that it ultimately doesn't matter. It's just because it's a good actor and a well-written script. You're interested in all the characters, but you're not, like, it's not unbalanced to the sake of it's all about the killer and his motivations. It's not an unbalanced film like that, the way a lot of serial killers are. This one's just one part of the drama. The same way some of the motivation of the killer ultimately isn't that important, but it's part of the drama mixed with the criminals and the cops and everything else. The same in Manhunter, it's mixed with these various other elements going through the story. It's part of the drama, it's not the only drama. But your main character is this seedy pimp, basically, who was an ex-cop, who got caught for corruption. So he lost his job. Other people in the police are obviously also corrupt. And he's still friendly with some, because they all know basically he was unlucky, he got caught. There's other people who did the same thing, didn't get caught. But he is seedy, he is cynical, he is misanthropic, he is running girls now, so he's never a sympathetic character. He's always pretty scummy in some way, but he is trying, as he realises he's made mistakes, and he's trying to sort some of these mistakes out. You do warm to him, but you never forget that he is a scumbag ultimately. He really does do horrible things, so a lot of these problems are his fault. A lot of his problems in his life is his own fault. It never forgets that, it really doesn't, and that's what's really good about it. All the characters are who they are. You don't get like sentimental cop-outs for any of them. They're who they are. They're living their lifestyle them a bum rap, and that's it. So basically he's this pimp who thinks he's losing his girls. He's brought girls in to be prostitutes in the street. He obviously expects to get money back from those girls, which will pay his investment to bring them in the first place. Some of the girls have turned out missing. He thinks they've run away to another pimp or they've just run away. He's trying to find them. He's got an associate who helps him out, who's just this guy, barely educated and useless. And he keeps on getting requests from this guy for another girl. And basically sends this girl who was ill. She had a flu basically. She's got a child. He doesn't care. So just get off your back and get back to work. I don't care if you're ill. So she goes and she disappears, and he has to try and hunt down what's going on because he realises this has been too many, and he notices one number. So he starts to hunt down the situation, try and figure out what happened to the girls, and that's what leads into a plot. One of the really great things about this film is they find out who the serial killer is really quick. Like this pimp guy finds him really quickly. He finds a guy. He doesn't find where the house is where his girl is, because the guy is not going to say. But he finds a killer really quickly. He finds him within the first third of the film. That's not the point of the film. The point of the film is this guy's been caught before, and they've never proven anything, they've never found any bodies. All they've got is probable cause. Like suspicion. That's all they've got. But they've never anything to say, like, we know he did it, but we can't prove it. And this guy loves frustrating cops. And they don't know where the bodies are. And it becomes a manhunt, really, to find his woman, find the house, find his MO, go through all his MO and just say, this is what he's about, so how do we find out where he's actually living? And as I try to figure that out, our scummy little pimp guy also finds out the woman he sent out does have a daughter. He has to take his daughter around with him as he tries to investigate where this person is. And so that humanises him a little bit, but he's still a bit of a scumbag. He's still pretty horrible at times. And he's doing all of his tactics to actually find out where she is. Like send his assistant round with to do certain things, to investigate certain things. He finds he stole these keys that the killer had. So he's saying try and find out where the lock is for this key. And stuff like that. I mean, he knows what area it is in the city, so he has to try and figure out where the house is and trying to put together all the clues to find her. But it is very complicated because life's complicated, and that's what this film's about. It's like, yeah, there's no like really simplistic, oh, he's this, so this clue leads to this one. No, it's messy the way life is. Like one clue leads to a former associate who knows nothing. It leads to things that block the investigation more than help it most of the time, and they've only got so much time to actually hold this guy without pressing charges. And he has walked a few times before, so the cops know he's guilty, they just can't figure out the proof. And it's just very difficult for them, and this guy's just a soulless scumbag who just doesn't care. He just doesn't care. He's just horrible. And that's just the terror of serial killers, is somebody who just, there's something missing in them. There's something, they like torturing people for the sake of it, but there's no real motivation. It's just, that's what they like to do. There's something missing in them. There's nothing you can do about it. This is a guy who tortured his own nephew and basically made him catatonic and brain dead just for the sake of it. He's that kind of character. And that's what's terrifying about him. So he's just enjoying watching the police sweat. And he enjoys taunting the police. So this is a terrific film. I don't want to go too far into where it goes, but where it goes is pretty horrifying. Where it goes is really affecting. You will be affected by this. There's lots of stuff that happens that will make you go, wow. It does look into the idea of how people can manipulate the system and how prosecutors and lots of laws can be used by criminals, but also shows the flaws of the police as well, how they don't handle certain things right. And so it's about human beings and how everyone is flawed, and that the flaws of various human beings can cause havoc and can cause tragedy. And people who don't get certain information, don't have certain information, can lead to tragedy. it's all about the kind of tragedy of this investigation rather than like good guys versus bad guys. I mean, everybody in this film, apart from the serial killer, has basic decency to them. Even the pimp, he's horrible at times, but he's not completely horrible. He's not beyond the pale. He's shades of grey. A lot of the cops are very much shades of grey as well. Everyone has their motivation. Everyone has their problems, and it's just how everything spirals out of control, from human flaws, manipulation of flaws, just bad luck in some cases, just horrible luck for some people. I mean, a lot of the situations are caused by people having horrible luck, and people listen to people they shouldn't listen to, and that's what makes it so tragic. Is certain things could have been avoided, but they're not, and it is just a wonderful film. But I don't want to go too much more into it because I want you to go see it, because it is new enough, and I think I've described what's so good about it, but I have not described a lot of the plot things, and so much of what I've said is stuff you'll see in the first half of the film. Really, the second half of the film is really wild and crazy and insane. But I've only really been into much of the details of the first half of the film. But the themes are spread throughout. But it does deliver a complicated look at the police, complicated look at ex-police and people trying to survive in the streets in a way that's not manipulative. It's just like, this is how it goes. What happens with ex-criminals, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful film, and I urge you to go see it. It's available, in places. I know it's quite hard to find, but you should try and find it because it really is worth it. It really is a wonderful film. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back soon with some more, but this is a shorter one because I want you to go see the film. I don't want to ruin it. So I'll see you later.